This is just a little snapshot of some of the bags that I've been sent to try with my mucous fistula, none of which are purpose-built, none of which have ended up being suitable. Going into the year 2025, I have to ask, why is there not a purpose-built solution for mucous fistulas out there? Hi, I'm Imali. At 23 years old, I had to have emergency permanent surgery to have 2 stomas placed, one for my ileostomy and one for my mucous fistula, both which require separate bags to cover them. My ileostomy sits just next to my belly button, my mucous fistula sits in the bend of my tummy. As you can see, my mucous fistula sits very low down in the crease of my tummy, making it a little bit difficult to find bags that work well there, that allow me to still bend and move and have the freedom that I need to go about my day. Everybody's mucous fistula is placed slightly differently. I've seen some which are very close to the ileostomy itself, sometimes even allowing it to output into the same bag, and I've seen others that are very much separate, just like mine. Either way, the same sentiment still stands. There should be as much effort put into the planning and the execution of how we can wear bags comfortably with our mucous fistulas as there is for ileostomies. When I first came round from my surgery, this was the bag that I had attached to both my ileostomy and my mucous fistula. As you can see, it's pretty large and it definitely doesn't fit well in that area. I was so panicked when I first came round that I would never be able to wear trousers again. There's actually no custom built bags available specifically for mucous fistulas, so I went from this to this. Now, in comparison, it is a bit smaller and it was definitely a little bit more comfortable at the time, but it still doesn't really fit the bill for what I needed, especially considering that mucous fistulas don't usually output all that much, meaning that you don't need a bag this big, and it's very unlikely that you're going to need to drain it so much in my experience. After a few weeks, I saw my stoma nurse as an outpatient and they showed me stoma caps. Now, these are an alternative if you find, like me, you don't have that much output and you don't need a full-size drainable bag. These are a really good idea in principle, but unfortunately they don't work so well. These are not designed to be bags, they are very much caps, meaning that the output doesn't actually go into the bag but tends to gather around the seal, leaving your skin sore. So I found that while this would have been good if I had no output, I have a small amount and unfortunately it's just enough to render this not very useful to me. So where does that leave me next? Well, I ended up going back to my supplier and my nurse who suggested going back into the world of custom built bags for your ileostomy, and so I went into the Salt mini bags. This also led me down the path of the Sensura Mios. I currently use the Sensura Mio Maxis for my ileostomy, so it made a lot of sense to stick with the same brand and just use their alternative version of the bag. As you can see as well, it is a little bit smaller than the Salts bag, so I went with that because of the size. Having said that, the size of the adhesive patch on the back is crazy. I don't have to cut my bags because my mucous fistula is very small now since it's healed quite a lot. So I just use it at this size, meaning that I have all of this extra adhesive that I don't need getting in the way of the crease of my belly. So this is just a bit of a bodge job if you're going to use it for the mucous fistula. The other thing is that it's drainable, which again, like I said, I don't need currently. So I wear it rolled up like that. But I find that this piece of plastic, where it's all rolled up, kind of gathers in the crease of my leg and quite often hurts or pinches me as I'm bending over. So just recently, I've learned to flip the bag upside down and wear it that way, so that the soft part is by the crease of my leg and this part sits just under my ileostomy bag, which for the moment is a more comfortable solution. Just before the festive period, I reached out to Coloplast, my supplier, and asked them if there was any alternatives that I hadn't already tried or anything that maybe I wasn't aware of, and they suggested trying a 2-piece system. So they sent out to me the Sensura Mio non-drainable bags, which seemed in principle like a really good solution. So these bags are pretty much the same as the drainable version, it's just that they don't have that tough piece of plastic in the bottom. And to wear, I have to say they were much more comfortable. As you can see though, it's pretty large. It is an actual bag, so output can fill it, but it's pretty big. And then what you have to do is wear a base plate with it because these are disposable bags. So the base plate goes on and the idea is you can leave it on your skin for a few days, giving your skin a break, and you can stick the bag to it. The downside of this is the adhesive on the base plate is bigger than the adhesive on the Sensura Mio bags by just a bit, meaning that I now have even more adhesive on my abdomen than I did before. And for me, that isn't really going to work. What's my point of bringing all this up? There needs to be a better system made than making do with bags that are designed for stomas when we need something custom built for mucous fistulas. I know I'm not the only one out there with a mucous fistula who doesn't require a full-scale bag, but also can't get away with just using a dressing or a stoma cap.